All right, so yesterday we started linear relationships, so today is day 2 of the concept. So let's go ahead and do a quick review. So first of all, we talked about our equation. So our equation for linear relationships is y equals mx plus b. And we focused on two different pieces. One piece that we focused on was b, our y-intercept. And then the second piece that we focused on was m, our rate of change. Okay. So the first thing we did with each graph is we took our color and we went over our y-axis. So that's the first thing you do on any graph. So I'm just going to go ahead and do that now on each of these. So I'm ready just in case. Okay. And there. I know this isn't on your paper or anything, but y'all are just watching. Okay, so the first thing, number 1, says the y-intercept for B is what? So I'm looking at graph B, and to find the y-intercept, we take our pencil or our finger and we go along the line until it hits our colored line or our y-axis. So I'm going to stop right here and put a point. So it goes through at 0. So the y-intercept always has an x value of 0. And then I went up 1 from the origin, so positive 1. Okay, so my y-intercept is 1. Okay, now it says the y-intercept for D, so I'm going to go to D, and I'm going to go along my line, and I'm going to stop when I hit the blue line, and I hit the blue line right here, which is at 0, of course. Every single y-intercept is 0. Darn it, sorry. 0, comma B. Okay, so it's at 0 and then negative 1. So the y-intercept there is negative 1. Okay, so now it says list the graphs with a positive rate of change. So rate of change, remember, for it to be, it either goes uphill and it's positive, or it goes downhill and it's negative. So I look from left to right every time. Right here, if I'm tracing it, my finger's going up. So this is going to be uphill, which is positive. Let's see. Oopsies. This next one, left to right, again is going uphill. So that one's positive. Here, left to right again. Oh wow, look, I'm going uphill again. Positive. And this one here, I start left to right and oh, it's going downhill. So downhill is negative. So it says list the graphs with a positive rate of change. So that would be A, B, and C. And then list the graphs with a negative rate of change. So that is D. Okay, so that's a review. So we are still going to be working with our rate of change and our y-intercept, but today we are going to be working with tables instead of graphs. So remember, our equation is y equals mx plus b. So just like we did yesterday, we looked at our y-intercept first, right? So we looked at our y-intercept first, and we know that the value that our y-intercept is the value of y when x is 0. So I'm going to look in the table for an x of 0. Do y'all see an x of 0 in the table? I do right here. Okay, so that means my y-intercept is 0, 30. So I know my equation has to say plus 30. So I'm going to look over here and see if I can rule anything out. Well, I see plus 30, I see plus 30, plus 30, and plus 30. Okay, well, looks like those Can't eliminate anything there, okay? So the next thing that we're going to do is use our rate of change. So we need to find our rate of change, okay? And to do that, what we're going to do is we are just going to use substitution, okay? So I am going to choose, you can choose any number except don't choose your y-intercept. So I like 5 and 50. Those look like fun numbers to me. So I'm going to take my 5 and I'm going to plug it in for x, just like we did yesterday. So I'm going to plug it in here. So let's see, -4. Darn it, why is it doing that? Okay, so -4 times 5 plus 30. So -4 times 5 is -20 plus 30. So -20 plus 30, different sign, subtract. I have +10. Does that match my equation or my table? No, not that one. So now let's move on to the next one. I'm going to plug in my 5, 4 times 5 plus 30. So 4 times 5 is +20. 20 plus 30 is 50. Is that right? Yes, that is right. So we lucked out. That means this here is our formula, okay? If we double check over here, again, we'd plug in 1/4 over 5 plus 30. Well, that would be 5 over 4, which is 1 1/4 plus 30 is 31 1/4. And these are both the same. So that is our equation, y equals 4x plus 30, okay? So we're going to find our y-intercept from the table, match it with our equations, and then use substitution to verify my rate of change. All right, let's try the next one. So the next one, yet again, we're going to focus on our y equals mx plus b, and I'm going to start with my y-intercept. So I'm looking for the value of y if x is 0. So 0, 50. That is my y-intercept. So I know that my equation needs to say plus 50. Look here, I see minus 50. So I'm eliminating that. Oh, look, and that one. All right, so we're down to 2. These both say plus 50, okay? So now I'm going to work on my rate of change. I'm going to be plugging in something with x. So if my numbers are getting larger, then that means it's going to be positive, so that's good. And now let's see, what numbers do I want to choose? I guess I want to go with 2 and 98. That's going to be my choice. So I'm going to plug 2 in for x. So I'm going to do 24 times 2 plus 50. Okay, so 24 times 2 is 48 plus 50 is 98. That one checks out. If I did it the other way, let's see, 1 over 24 times 2 plus 50. So that would be 2 over 24. So that's a fraction plus 50. So that's not even 51. So that definitely does not get us to 98. So this here is our equation. Y equals 24x plus 5. Okay, and if we needed to double check a second point, I could choose another point. Let's say I want to choose 3. I can plug 3 in. So 24x plus 50. Going to plug in 3. 24 times 3 plus 50. I honestly don't know this off the top of my head. 72 plus 50. 5 plus 7 is 12 is 122. Check. Okay, so if you need to check several points, you would definitely just substitute them in separately. Okay. All right, so this is your turn to give it a try. I know you guys don't always listen to me, but I'd really like you to go ahead and press pause and try this one on your own. All right, so our first step is to look for our y-intercept. So I'm looking for the value of y if x is 0. So I go down x and I look for 0. I see 0, -8. So 0, -8. So that means my b is going to be -8. I see -8 and I see -8. So that means I can eliminate these two. And now I'm down to 2 equations. So I'm going to select a pair. And now I'm going to work with my rate of change. I'm going to select a pair. I'm going to go with that because I like those numbers the best. And I'm going to plug in my x value and see if I get my y. Okay. So now I have 1/7 times 2 minus 8. So 1/7, 1 times 2 is 2. 2/7 minus 8 is going to get me, let's see, I have to add the opposite because this is a bigger number. So I'm going to get some negative number. It's going to be -7 5/7. Well, that certainly is not 6. So let's go down to the next equation. 7, I'm going to plug in my x, 2 minus 8. So 7 times 2 is 14. 14 minus 8 is 6. That matches my table. Alrighty, so number 4. Let's take a look at number 4. Again, y equals mx plus b. First thing is always going to be our y-intercept. We're looking for the value of y when x is 0. Whoa, 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 whoa. Hang on, look. This is the first time we've seen that. I see a 0 here, and I see a 0 here. Okay, guys, do not let yourself get fooled. We are looking for the value of y when x is 0. So I'm looking in the x column, and I want the 0 in the x column. So this here is my y-intercept. So -1. So I need it to say -1. Look at that. It's tricking you. It has +2, okay? So if you had gone that way, you would have chosen the wrong formula. So I'm looking for -1. So I can eliminate these two here in the middle. Now I choose a pair, and it can be any pair you want. I'm going to go, let's see, let's do 4 and 1, okay? So I'm going to plug 4 in for my x value. So I'm going to rewrite them both. So I'm going to do 2 times 4 minus 1. So I just plugged in 4 for my x. 2 times 4 is 8. 8 minus 1 is 7. Is that what my y needs to be? If x is 4, y should be 1. Well, that does not match. So let's try this one down here. So I have 1/2 x. So x 4, and then minus 1, half of 4. So 4 divided by 2 is 2. 2 minus 1 is 1. That certainly matches. All right, so you have your next one here. All right, so again, our y-intercept, we're looking for y equals mx plus b. Okay, so our y-intercept is value of y when x is 0. So if it has 0, 0, then plus 0, they don't list that, okay? So you're looking for it not to say plus anything. So here it says plus 14, that's not plus 0. That's going up 14. Here you have plus 1, that goes up 1. So now you're down to 2 equations to substitute in for.